Hi, I'm Simon with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we're going to show you how to repair your appliance. Are you ready? Remember, anytime you work on your appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there is no chance of electrocution. Also, make sure you turn off the water supply to the washer. In this video, we'll show you how to replace the Gearcase oil seal in a Whirlpool washer. It's going to be a relatively easy job. It shouldn't take long to show you how to do it. For the job, we're going to need our putty knife, a Phillips and a flathead screwdrivers, a 1/4-inch nut driver, a pair of pliers, a spanner wrench, a plastic mallet, a socket wrench with an extension, and 5 heads, which are 5/16, 7/16, 1/2 inch, 11/16, and 3/4 inch, a brush, a gear oil, a penetrating oil, a turbine oil, and a gasket sealer. And also we would need some kerosene to wash the gearbox. When you open up the package, you're going to get a pair of new Gearcase oil seals. We are going to use only one of them, depending on which one is installed on your washer. The Gearcase oil seal seals the side shaft of the transmission, preventing oil from leaking out. If you find that your gear oil is leaking out through the seal, you'll have to replace the seal and the oil. Open the lid. Remove by pulling it straight up the liquid fabric softener dispenser. Some models has a locking ring around. To remove one of those, lift up the ring to unlock it and pull the dispenser out. Remove the inner cap by pulling it up. Next, we need to take the center bolt out. Hold the lower agitator and using the 7/16 inch socket wrench with the extension, unscrew the bolt. Use both of your hands and grab the agitator from underneath and pull it up off the shaft. We need to open the console. It's held in place by the 2 screws, one in each corner at the back of the console. Using the Phillips screwdriver, take those screws out just a bit more than halfway until the console gets loose. Pull the console forward to disengage it from the cabinet at the bottom and lift it up. Use the flat blade screwdriver to lift the tab and disconnect the wire plug. Now we need to detach the cabinet. Using the flat blade screwdriver, pry out 2 retainer clips in the corners. Tilt the cabinet towards you and remove it from the base. The water brake is next. It's going to be on the way, and to avoid breaking it, we will take it off. Using the pliers, squeeze and slide the hose clamp. Pull the hose out the water brake. It may have some water inside, so use a towel. Pull the sides outward, holding them at the bottom. Lift it up to release the top tabs and remove the water brake. Using the pliers, remove the clamp, and then remove the agitator washer. For the next step, you will need a spanner wrench, part number TJ90TB123A, that you can get from AppliancePartsPros.com. The price is very reasonable. Using the hammer or the plastic mallet and the spanner wrench, loosen up and unscrew the spanner nut by turning it counterclockwise. Now we have got to remove the top ring. Push down the ring above each of the locking tabs with one hand and unlock the tab with the other hand. Make sure you open all of the tabs and leave the top ring off. The next step is removing of the inner tub. Squirt on some penetrating oil and hammer it with a rubber mallet to break loose. Rock it side to side. After it's broken loose, carefully lift it out. It's kind of heavy, so you might get a second person to help you lifting it up. Using the spanner wrench, knock off the drive block and remove it. And next we need to put the washer on its back. We need to use some kind of support. I'm going to use this gorgeous looking wooden box. Make sure that the water inlet hoses and the drain hose are not on the way. You may need to have a second person because it could be heavy for you. Let's put the rag or the towel underneath of the washer because we might have an oil dripping down from the transmission. Using the flat blade screwdriver, pop open top and bottom drain pump clamps. Turn each of them 90 degrees to free from the motor case and then remove them. Pull the drain pump off the motor shaft and move it out of the way. Using the flat blade screwdriver, leave the tab and disconnect the motor plug. To remove the motor, use the 1/4-inch nut driver to take 2 screws out. Then, using the flat blade screwdriver, pop the retainer clips off, then turn them 90 degrees and take them out. Push down on the motor and remove it. Be careful, it's heavy. Open the retainer clamp with a flat blade screwdriver and remove the wires. Place them aside. Now we need to take out the motor mount plate. Using 1/2-inch socket wrench, take out 2 bolts and then we can remove the plate. Now we need to drop the transmission down. It's held by the 3 1/2-inch bolts. So using the 1/2-inch socket wrench with the extension, unscrew all 3 bolts. Slowly pull the transmission out and place it on the rag. Take out the rubber insert and then, using the flat blade screwdriver, pry off the coupling. Lift off the thrust washer. Using the flat blade screwdriver, remove the retaining clip by sliding it off the shaft. Push the locking ring in with the flat blade screwdriver and take it off. Remove the clutch assembly. Place the transmission inside the container and, using the 5/16-inch socket wrench, take out all the screws around the cover. Using the putty knife and the mallet, pry the cover of the transmission case. Tilt the transmission and drain the old oil into the container. Let it drip for a while. Dry the dirty contents into the container with the cap and properly dispose it in accordance with your local regulations. To clean the gears and the case, pour in some kerosene. Use the brush to wash the oil off. Dump the oily kerosene into the container. Using the putty knife, scrape off the old seal of the cover and the gear case. Make sure you got it all off. And this is a drained and cleaned transmission. We need to remove the seal around the shaft. Now I'm going to build a support. I'll use this beautiful wooden block. And now, flat blade screwdriver. We will need to penetrate the old seal. So, there you go. That's an old seal. This is the old Gearcase oil seal next to the new one. If you don't have this part, you can get it from appliancepartspros.com. Next, we're going to clean the seat. Just spray a bit of the greaser. Don't get too excited. And then wipe it out. Okay, next we're going to put some turbine oil on the seal. Not too much. And let's now install it back into the seat. Push it in, and then we're going to press it in using 13/16 socket head and a plastic mallet. All right, we're done. And now we're going to support it with a little wooden block. Now we need to put liquid gasket or sealant. We're going to use this one, which is Whirlpool, part number WP285195. But if you can get something similar, you can use it. You can get it probably from machine shops. Okay, now we can mount it. Slide it on the shaft. Push it down on the pinion gear and match the holes. Then remove the cover and add the sealer where needed. Put the rest of the sealant on the spots on which you don't see the imprint. Make sure that the whole space is covered. All right. Now we need to fill up with oil. We're using this is Whirlpool oil 350572, and that's what recommended by the manufacturer. It takes approximately 16 ounces of gear oil to fill the gear case. Slowly pour it in. All right. And now the time for putting the cover on. And then we're going to secure it with the screws. Match the holes and put those 5/16" screws in. And now we're going to tighten it with 5/16 socket wrench. Now we can install it into the washer. Let's prepare the transmission for the installation into the washer. So first we need to install the clutch assembly. If this part was not out of the clutch, you're lucky. If it popped out somehow, we're going to put it back in. It's very easy. Install it and push it in. That's called anti-rattle bracket. And slide it on the shaft. Match those 4 metal pins and 4 cutouts in the pinion gear. Push it down. Now we're going to put the locking ring. Goes on the top. And this little hooky goes into the opening here. We'll lock it in. And we're going to push the ring inside. You will need to use a flat blade screwdriver to lock it in. All right. I guess you heard the click. That means it's in. The next thing would be sliding that clip. There's the grooves on 2 sides of the shaft. So we're going to put it into the grooves. Next would be the thrust washer. If you look carefully on the inside, you will see 2 metal pins. Obviously, it's a metal washer. So the pins have to fit into the openings. Slide it over and just drop it in. Now we're ready to go into the washer. All right. Before installing the transmission, we need to make sure that this spring is not at the same position as this tab on the cam. So if you install it this way, that is not good. It has to be rotated any degree. I usually put it in opposite position, and then we can install the transmission. And now we're going to put 3 bolts to secure the transmission. 1/2" socket wrench. Tighten them good. All right. Next, we need to put back the coupling, the motor coupling. It's very important that both couplings, one on the transmission, the other one is on the motor, are intact and they're not moving on the shafts. If they are moving or cracked or missing one tooth, replace them. I'm using a 3/4" socket head and a mallet to punch them on. Don't go too hard. See, that's it, it's on. Next is a mounting motor plate. It's absolutely symmetrical, so there's no difference which way you're going to put it. This way, whatever you like. Place it on the transmission, match the holes, and secure it with 2 half-inch bolts. We're going to start with placing the insert, the rubber insert, on the coupling. And then I'm going to show you the way I'm going to install the motor. I will point it up, so the hole would be at the bottom. And that is the coupling on the motor, which will be pointed down to match this hole. And this too would be on the top. Make sure that all 4 motor grommets are intact, because if you will have one missing, then the motor would be crooked. It will go on, but it will be crooked, and it will be killing the transmission and itself. Before I put a motor on, I'm going to put this lower motor clamp, and I insert it and turn it 90 degrees so it will be locked. Then I'm going to kind of lean it back. Then I'm going to put on the motor. Okay. Next, I'm going to tilt it forward just a little bit. And I'm going to insert the second clamp in the opening and turn it 90 degrees. I'm going to lock it and lock the bottom one. And next we're going to secure the motor with 2 1/4-inch screws. Next, the drain pipe goes on the motor shaft. We need to match the position of the slot here in the pump with the motor shaft. See these cuts on the motor shaft? And we're going to use this little clamp. And I'm going to turn this just a little bit. Probably a bit more. The pump is on. We're going to secure it with the 2 clamps. Put it into the opening in the motor casing. Then we're going to push it on the pump. And the second one goes the same way. Insert, turn, and push on. There we go. Next will be to connect the wire harness onto the motor plug. And the last thing, before we're going to put the washer upright, we're going to put the wire harness into the clamp. Spread it out, put the wires in, and squeeze it, lock. That's it. Ready to go upright. Let's remove the towel. And then we can put the washer upright. All right. Next, we're going to put a drive block on the basket drive. Note please that we're going to match the cutouts in the drive block with the 2 metal prongs on the basket drive. And then we're going to hammer it down. Be careful, don't get excited. All right, now the time for inner basket. All right, let's put the spanner knot. Now we're going to start it manually, turning it clockwise. Then we're going to use the spanner wrench. We already used it to take it out. And then tight that knot. Next we're going to put on the top of the shaft agitator washer. If you notice, that pin goes into the opening. Next, we're going to put the clip on. Okay, now we're going to install the tub ring. There's lots of locking pins here and the tabs. So we're going to match this opening and this tab. We're going to start with this one. Make sure all of them outside. Push it down and lock. And you can do it on the opposite side. And then the rest of them. Open the lid, grab the cabinet through the lid with both hands and bring it to the front of the washer. Slide the front edge of the cabinet under the base and lower the cabinet down so all 4 tabs goes into the slots. Push the rear panel in so the cabinet is flush with the rear panel. Hold it with one hand and install the retainer clip with unhooked end inside the rear panel and push it down to lock in. Repeat the procedure on the opposite side. Reconnect the wire plug. To close the console, we need to match the clips at the bottom with the cutouts in the cabinet and slide the console back to lock it in. Using the Phillips screwdriver, secure the console with the 2 screws at the back of the console. Now it's time for the agitator. Matching the agitator splines with the shaft splines, slide the lower agitator onto the transmission shaft and push it all the way down. Place the truss spacer washer on the new lower agitator. Install the top agitator on. Match the 4 cutouts in the short cam with the 4 posts of the lower agitator and push the cam with the agitator dogs down. Insert the bolt in the center opening and using the 7/16" socket wrench, tighten it. You will have to use the one hand to hold the lower agitator and tighten the bolt with the second hand. Next goes the inner cap. Put some liquid soap on the cap seal, this way it will go in easier, and install the cap. Snap on the liquid softener dispenser. Push down the locking ring if there is one. Close the lid. Turn the water on. Plug the washer back in and make sure there's no leaks. Thank you for being a part of another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. For any of your future appliance repair projects, please check out our other repair videos available on our site, on Facebook, and on YouTube.